All right, Mike Benoit here, and another episode of Tyranny Busters, peeling a layer of tyranny off the onion inside your head. Of course, you can read here what Thomas Jefferson said about tyranny upon the mind of man. And this one is about the victimless crime of driving without a license. There are some libertarians that think that that's a crime. Some libertarians think that we're safer because we have the government making sure people can drive, and then they give them this license, this permission to exercise what would otherwise be and is a right. So they turn a right into a privilege. They convince you, put these tyrannies upon your mind, that you would not be safe on the highways, and people would be dying every year all over the place like they are now with, I think the number is, what's the number every year that people die on highways? 50,000? 10,000? A lot. And but we're all safer because these people all have licenses, and the government made us safe, and this justifies removing a right to travel. And because Lord knows that parents, communities, religious organizations, private businesses could not make sure people know how to drive, not teach them. And they were all so foolish that without any driving skills whatsoever, we're going to get behind the wheel of a car and go driving crazy. And if that's happening, we're pretty confident that our police force won't take these people off the road for endangering other people. So you're not going to be safe unless you have your driver's license. But let's look at it from the point of view of jury nullification. Let's say there are people in this country with the chutzpah and the intestinal fortitude to say, you know what? I'm not taking your stinking license. I have a right to drive. I'm not getting permission from you, my servant, and turning you into my master. I'm going to exercise my right to travel, and I have the skills to operate this vehicle, and I own this vehicle, and the roads are as much mine as they're anybody else's, and until I demonstrate that I'm a hazard to somebody else, you can't take that right away from me of traveling on these roads. And somebody stands up in the tyranny of the tyrants who like to support victimless crime laws, they jump all over this guy, and this guy keeps doing this, and he's got enough infractions or whatever that they say, okay, we're going to lock him up, and he's got a jury trial. In the meantime, though, you probably sanctify all the laws that steal the guy's property before he's convicted of any crime because he was driving without a license. And he gets this jury trial, and we don't have this system where the judges lie to everybody and tell them that they don't have a right to judge the law. And we got some brave souls that say not guilty. And so the guy's not guilty. And what are you tyrants going to do about that? You see, all these victimless crime laws exist because people don't have the chutzpah to stand up to the tyranny, and other people don't have the chutzpah to say, you know what, not guilty, not guilty. Instead, we got people who claim to be for liberty that are supporting people losing their right to travel and regain only a permission to travel. And if the permission is revoked, they think that these people should be dealt with severely if they're caught without their permission slip. I asked the same person who was arguing this, well, then the same thing applies to the Second Amendment. I had him in the breadbasket on the Second Amendment because that's the deal that he supports. And I said, hey, then we should license people for guns. Of course, no. It was his answer on that. And I said, well, you're not consistent. He says, just because he doesn't agree with all licensing doesn't mean he's not consistent. Well, certainly when it comes to freedom and the idea of false security and the tyranny upon the mind of man, he is inconsistent, which means he supports tyranny. tyranny upon the mind. And what do we do with this guy? Does he support the right of jury nullification? Who knows? But I'm telling you that the way to bust all these victimless crime laws is to resist and jury nullification. This is an episode of Tyranny Busters. I got another one coming. Thanks.